Welcome back everybody to another episode on the Monster Bass channel. My name is Brandon Stoker, and in today's episode we are going to be going over the Lunkerhunt Slash 12, which you should have received this in your Monster Bass box this month. So we're going to go over that and everything you need to know about fishing this bait right here. Before we jump into it, guys, if you love tips or tricks videos, or you have questions on lures that you got in your box, things like that, how to fish it, where to fish it, what time of the year to fish certain lures, things like that, guys, the Monster Bass channel is excellent for that. We are always pumping out tons of content for you guys to check it out, especially the lures in your boxes. We try to go over every single lure in the box so that you guys, if you have any questions, you can come to the Monster Bass channel and it's there for you guys to find. Now, I also run a channel called Wisconsin Wildman, guys, where I do tons of fishing, especially here in Wisconsin. I'm from the Midwest, guys. I do a ton of bass fishing, a bunch of different stuff. So we're going to link my channel down below in the description. I'd really appreciate if you guys go check it out. All right, so enough of me talking, guys. We're going to be talking about the Lunkerhunt Slash 12. Now, before we get into this lure, unpack it, look at it, things like that, we got to think of the time of the year and why this lure is so perfect for it. So around here in Wisconsin, Midwest time, you know, the water temp is really, really cold. If you're fishing open water, this is a lure you're probably going to be throwing. And, you know, a lot of the water around here is freezing up. But down south, things like that, where you can get into those more open water, really cold temperatures, winter fishing, those fish are lethargic. They're going to get down in those wintering holes. They're going to get down low, hang tight to the bottom, and they're just going to be very lethargic. So a lot of times your presentation really comes down to slow moving presentations, and that's where something like this is excellent for that. Like I said, the fish are lethargic, they're not moving much, and that's where jerkbait is a great choice. So let's unbox this sucker, guys. We're also going to go over the rod and reel combo that I use for this, but Lunkerhunt makes a really, really good jerkbait, guys, especially this one, and I really, really like this one because I like how big it is. For one, I'm a big fan of bigger jerkbaits, so as you guys can see, that thing it's a pretty nice looking jerkbait. It dives really nice. The bill on this is nice and strong. I do like that as well, because you want something that's, I've had a lot of issues with the bill breaking off on some of these jerkbaits, but this one looks nice, and I love the perch color. Now, you want to do your best to resemble a bait fish of some kind. Around here we have a lot of perch in these lakes and stuff like that, so perch is a great, great color. Another thing that I love about this is I love that it rattles. You can hear those rattles in there. That is key, guys, especially in the wintertime. These fish, like I said, they're lethargic, so you really want something that's going to stand out. I love a perch color because in the summertime you can see just from the sunlight that's shining in from my into my garage here how much that thing is shimmering. So on a sunny, cold day, you know, it's my favorite time to throw a jerkbait is when it's really sunny out, it's cold. It's my favorite time of the year to throw a jerkbait is when it's nice and cold, because it's perfect for those fish. But this color is excellent for that wintertime bass fishing. Now, there's several ways that you guys can throw this jerkbait. Now, you can throw it out there, you can just pop it along like a normal jerkbait, but you know, as the water temp cools off, so when the water temp is you know, just starting to drop off, I'm going to work this thing a little bit faster. So, you know, I'm going to give it a pop, 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 let it sit, pop, 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 let it sit, or just a pop, pop, let it sit. And as that water temp cools down, you're going to want to slow the presentation down. And that's what's great about a jerkbait, especially a suspending jerkbait, is it just sits there. It just kind of just floats a little bit. It just sits there. And then you just give it a couple pops and it's just boom, boom, just like that, guys. Even the sounds are correct. No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, yeah, I mean, guys, this is perfect. You work it really slow. That's really the best tip that I can give you guys when you're fishing a jerkbait, is have patience. When I first was learning how to fish a jerkbait, I hated fishing a jerkbait because it was so slow. It's so painful to just pop, pop, and just let this thing sit there for like 30 seconds, sometimes even a minute. Sometimes, I don't know, it just takes a while. Those fish are lethargic, like we said before. That winter time has got these fish really cold. They're just down in their wintering holes. They're not moving much at all. And that's why it's important to have a jerkbait like this that dives a little deeper as well, because they are down there deeper in those wintering holes. So when you're fishing this jerkbait, guys, really take your time. It's going to take patience. If you've never fished a jerkbait, or you just don't care to fish slow and you want to get into winter fishing, you're going to have to learn how to fish slow. And that's where the jerkbait excels, because you give it that couple little twitches and then you just let it sit. And when it's just sitting there like that, those bass, they can't resist. They end up eating it. And what's nice about, like I said before, I touched on this, was the size of this jerkbait. For one, you can make really long casts with it because it's heavier. You can get it out there. You can keep it in their water column a little more. But also, it looks like a nice, easy meal to the bass. So when the bass is looking at this right here, he's thinking to himself, okay, you know, am I going to eat something, you know, small grubs they'll eat, things like that, but they want a nice, easy meal. And when it's big like this, looks like a nice, big, easy meal for them to tear into. So, you know what, I like, work this thing slow. I like a bigger jerkbait. This is a perfect one. I'm really happy to see this in the box, especially this time of the year, because these are killer. I can't say enough about them. Now let's get into the rod and reel combo. Now this is my preferred rod and reel combo for fishing a jerkbait, guys. Now, the rod I have is a medium power fast action rod. Now this is a 7-footer. I'm not a super tall guy, so I like a little bit shorter rod for a jerkbait, just because I even have a jerkbait on there, ironically. But I like a little bit shorter rod for a jerkbait because I can twitch the rod and I don't have to worry about it smacking the, you know, the water or wherever I'm at, you know, if I'm fishing from the bank, things like that. But a medium power fast action. Now I like a medium power because you can throw a little bit smaller jerkbaits if you want, but even those big jerkbaits like this sucker right here, you can make really long casts with it. But I think the medium power just works really well for jerkbaits. It gives it a really good action. I just really prefer a medium power when I'm throwing a jerkbait around. Now the reel, guys, it really doesn't matter. I have a 7-1-1 on here. You could go slower. So if you had a 6-3-1 or whatever you have for a reel on there, slower is not a bad thing either, because these fish, you know, you're working it slow, and in the wintertime, there's not a lot of vegetation around, things like that. So it's not like you're worrying about horsing that fish up and out of a bunch of vegetation. All you're doing is, you know, reeling them back to the boat. Now for line. Now, I like fluorocarbon. That's what I like to do. You could do braid to fluorocarbon, but you don't need heavy fluorocarbon. Now, I think this right here is 10 or 12 pound. I think 10 pounds pretty good for jerkbaits, guys. I've seen guys use 8 pound. I like 12 pound because if you are fishing around rocks and things like that, it's a little more forgiving when you're scraping that line against those rocks. But I think 10 pounds pretty good. You could go down to 8. You could step it up if you have like a lot of stuff around and you're throwing a really big jerkbait, you know, something like this one that's a little bit bigger, things like that. But I think 10 pounds pretty good. I like fluorocarbon. But like I said, if you don't want to use a bunch of fluorocarbon, you could do maybe like 8 or 10 pound braid and then maybe tie on, you know, a 10 pound fluorocarbon leader on there. That's a great way to do it. Fluorocarbon is expensive. So if you're on a budget, I would highly recommend going braid to fluorocarbon. But like I said, guys, 7-foot medium power fast action rod, 7-1-1 Abu Garcia reel. This reel is really nice. It's cheaper and it holds up. I've had this one for like 5 years, guys, and this thing has held up really well. 10 pound fluorocarbon, 8 pound fluorocarbon, something like that. There you guys have it. That is everything about fishing this right here, guys. There's nothing fancy to it. Like I said, you're casting it out there, especially with the water temps being as cold as they are now. You're giving it a couple pops and you're letting this thing sit. So if you're looking to get into jerkbait fishing, or you're just really looking to fish in the wintertime, get used to fishing slow. Those fish are cold, they're lethargic, they're in their wintering holes. So fish slow, things like that, and just keep throwing this thing around and you will get better at it. But I promise you guys, this thing right here will catch you fish. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Hey, remember to check out my channel down below in the description. I'd really appreciate it. Otherwise, if you guys love these types of videos, make sure you like and subscribe to the Monster Bass channel, and we will see you guys on the next one.